Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Hello and welcome to Miguel and Holly Uncensored. It is our podcast that we do 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We also have other podcasts that you can listen to as well, like Miguel and Holly Full Show, Miguel and Holly's Blown Off, Queen City Confessions. So if you're traveling for spring break, you can listen to any of the podcasts on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts. But more specifically, if you are in the Platypus Posse, which means that you listen to the podcast, if you ever see us out in public and you're like, Platypus Posse, hey, Platypus, then we're like, oh, you listen, yay!
Just whisper it.
Yeah,
whisper
just whisper
it in our ears.
Yeah.
That's not awkward at all.
Now, I like the whispering better than one time at Publix. Someone just came as I was like looking at different spices and they were just like, Platypus! And I was like, wait, what?
You're like, ho!
Who? What?
Why?
She just kept going and she was just like, yee.
I'll never forget Sophia Carson saying, what is it called when it's like multiple platypus, like platypuses?
Oh,
And we're
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
I was like, pretty much. So when we do like a live something, we'll be like, look at all these platypussies out here in the audience today.
Wow. Yeah.
No?
Yep. That's it. That's what it is. I gotta get out my little platypus and put it in this new studio.
Yes. I've been meaning to actually buy some
Pie?
pie.
Platypi? I think it's
Pussy?
platypuses. It might actually, but
I think it's platypi.
Platypi.
It
I like
is-
saying platypuses.
I saw a guy on TikTok say that when you correct people when they say octopuses versus octopi, he goes, there's actually no octopi. It's octopuses. And I was like, oh, well, maybe it's that way for platypi
Yeah. No,
or
listen.
platypuses.
Literally, when we do a live either podcast recording or if we do a Miguel and Holly live one day here in
Yeah.
Charlotte, we're
Yeah.
literally going to say, where are my platypuses?
Ow.
Ow, ow, ow. So yes, make
Oh.
sure to keep that. Also, make sure to tell people about the podcast. It helps us. It helps you grow the podcast. So thank you so much for listening. So today is a very special day because we have the one, the only Soul Worker Stacy. Yes. So Stacy, because we have lots of new people from the Charlotte area that are starting to find the podcast and listen.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean? Let's sort of reestablish that. When we say Soul Worker Stacy, what does that mean?
That is such a great question. It means I soul work. It's a whole different. I'm very unique. I'm very original. It's a lot of people like, oh, you're a psychic. You're a medium. No, everyone who knows me hate and knows how much I despise that label. I am a soul worker. God uses me to work with people's souls, and I can feel everything, past, present, future. I can literally walk into a room full of strangers and tell you everything that's going on in their current life and what's happened with them. And, you know, as far as like, and I can tell you, oh goodness, if you've lost somebody, and then I can tell great details about what's happened with that person who you've lost. And my purpose in this life is to bring as much closure and as peace and guidance as humanly possible through God. It's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what makes you, because I made the mistake, and I guess I do it because it's a quick way, like when we're on the radio and we do because I like to make it random who we get, especially with the new Charlotte audience, to sort of introduce them to the podcast and to you. So on the air, I say, our psychic medium, just because we only have a couple of seconds and trying to explain soul worker, there's not enough time. So do you take offense when people say that, or you just prefer the term soul worker?
I prefer the term soul worker, but I don't take offense. I mean, it is what it is. You guys know me. I'm like the most open-minded human being. And when people hear soul worker, they're like, what the freak is that? Like, what do you do? And so it's, it cuts the chase. And whenever I do finally have sessions with somebody, I'm able to personally explain like, hey, so, I can tell you what's going to happen in the future, but it's usually I can tell somebody what they're going to do versus what will actually happen sometimes, if that makes sense. I love to give a point A and a point B. So, hey, this is what's going to happen, but you always have the option to change whatever you have your own free will. So,
I love that. Well,
whole thing. I'm excited.
are you ready to meet some new people today?
As I would say, fresh blood, bring it.
Yeah. I love it. Well, let's bring on Alexandria. Welcome to Miguel and Holly Uncensored. You are now officially in the Platypus Posse. Yes. Now, what part of Charlotte do you live in?
I actually live in Kannapolis.
Kannapolis.
Okay.
Love it. And how long have you been listening to the on-air show?
Forever. I don't know. Me and my mom listen to it every morning.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. So for this part, since you're new to the podcast, Holly, Kelvin, and myself, we step back and it's literally just you and Stacy having a session.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You were so nervous. Don't lie.
Yeah.
There's no
I
good
am
about this.
so nervous. Yeah.
It is totally like I always tell everybody, you're gonna be talking like your best friend. Don't mind me. Is your mom with you? Is she in the room?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring her happy, beautiful face next to you, please.
Okay.
Love you, but she needs this more than you do. Hi.
Hi.
I just want you to know you are one of the most strongest human beings I could ever give credit to. You've been through hell and back. I want you to know that God has not walked away from you. If anything, he's holding that giant umbrella over you. You have to know this hasn't been punishment for either one of you guys.
Like it.
I know. This has not been punishment. All right. So what mail did you lose? And I just know I work solely and through God. I will ask questions because I am very, very, very big on doing this exactly right. And all I keep feeling and all that God keeps showing me is a male figure. And it's like, okay, so it's either in my head logically, I'm like, it's your son or it's your husband, but there's a hole in your heart.
It's actually my father.
Okay. You have to know that him leaving as soon as he did, the way he did, was the best case scenario for what could have happened. It just gets worse. It could have been so much worse. Do you understand me?
Yes.
He didn't struggle. As bad as that was, as bad as everything he went through, he wasn't there.
Peaceful.
Yeah, it was very peaceful. He woke up in the arms of Jesus. Do you understand me?
Yes.
Okay. He knew what was going to happen. He knew. And the fact that you guys prayed over him, the fact that everything happened the way that it did, you have to know it was right. And you have to know the amount of peace that you brought to him.
Thank you so much.
Okay? Letting him go, talking to him, telling him, Daddy, it's okay. Know that you did it right. You also have a sister, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. She didn't get to say goodbye, did she?
They were out of touch for a very long time.
Please, 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 I beg of you to let her know how much he loves her, how it takes responsibility, okay? Because he was a hard-headed human being.
Yes.
That was not his soul. That was his ego.
Yes.
And you have got to validate that love for her, please. And you have to make sure she has something of his. She avoided it because she didn't know how to approach it. Okay.
Right.
He wasn't going to give her a chance. Yeah. So please know that. The other thing too, my dear, whatever you're going through right now in life, because it's literally like one thing after another, after another, after another, you are just going, and I know you are, I can feel it. You're sitting in your car going, God, what else can I do? What else is there? Why are we going through this?
Absolutely.
He just wants your attention. He just wants more prayers. He just wants that connection with you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have to talk to you about your son. You have a son. Tell me you have a son. Who has the son? Alexa off. Sorry. Who has the son? Who has the younger male around you guys? There's all this attention about, and that's why I was asking about the son earlier. Did anybody lose a younger male around you? I love pressure. Okay. I want you to hold on to this because Miguel, you and I both know, I call it the 3-day rule. You give it 3 days because eventually you're going to find out either your sister, because this is related to your sister. Okay. She either lost a younger male or anything like that, but I need you guys to know he's okay.
Okay.
All right. Because it seemed really quick and really sudden. Somebody, and she has a son, and does she have the son?
My sister has 2 daughters now.
Yeah. I want to know who has the son. Please hold on to that for me, please.
I will. I'm thinking really hard on.
And the other thing too is who's pregnant or looking to get pregnant.
My best friend from high school is pregnant.
Yeah, tell her everything's going to be okay because she keeps stressing out the fact that this baby's going to be the death of her. No, it's going to be a happy, good, easy birth.
Okay. Yeah, I can see her stressing over that.
Okay. So do you guys have any questions at all?
I just need to know that my stepfather and my father are both at peace. Those are both males in my life that I lost.
Who did you actually have to let go? Because that's the one that is the most prominent to let you know that you did the right thing by this. They are both at peace. But because I keep seeing 2 different scenarios.
Yeah.
One where they fell asleep, they were gone, they didn't wake up. The other one of having to let him go. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Very proud of you. Very proud of who you are. You're not failing.
How are you feeling, Alexandra? I keep seeing you put your hand over your mouth and your eyes just getting big. What's going through your mind right now?
We've talked about this forever. Our huge thing is we just want to know they're at peace. But the weird thing is my papa, her dad, we had an event for my little sister the other day, and we said that he was there. We can feel him all around all the time. And so this morning when I heard you on the radio, I was like, I have to do this. I'm holding his dog tag right now, actually.
That's why I keep wanting to salute. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the hardest. That was one of the hardest losses for me.
He was like a dad to you. He wasn't just like a grandfather. It was a male world. Seriously, you're going to carry on things that he taught you. Think you have little sayings and stuff like that. You're going to hold on to for the rest of your life by this person.
That's Jeffrey. That's her step.
Okay.
Well, that's my stepdad.
All right. Yeah. Please. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. They're 2 different scenarios, but they're crossing over. Yeah. But we understand.
He was a smart ass. Forgive my language.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
And he loves certain. Yeah. And there's something that you guys need to make like a pie or a sweet thing because I keep seeing little circle cookies.
He used to always say we would bake shit, and he would say it's worth a toe because he was a diabetic.
All right. That's just your confirmation, y'all.
Oh.
And my dad, too, was a diabetic that's crazy.
His heart settled down, though. It was his heart that finally gave out. So.
My dad had Agent Orange from Vietnam. And that's what happened. His heart gave out.
Yep. So there's your confirmation, baby. Thank you so much, you guys.
No, thank you.
It's just God.
So much.
Thank you so much for letting us be a part of this. And welcome to the Miguel and Holly fam and the Platypus Posse. Because now we family, girl.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Much love. Have a great weekend, okay?
Us too.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to. I had to. I knew that woman was there.
Get your mama in here.
When have you ever?
Like I was like, how do you? I haven't heard anybody but with her, behind her, and then her mom was just like, "Hey,
hey."
Yeah. Her mom just said,
Oh, wow.
That was
fantastic.
Epic. Wow.
That was intense. And I could tell because usually we have a little thing like, oh, this is what's going to pop up today. Oh, I could feel it from a mile away on her. Oh, I could feel it. So, all right, got to regroup.
So is it more so when you get that feeling, is it like her? It's like
How's it
what?
work?
Yeah, like when she said, "Hey, I can do it," and is it sort of like you feel her spirit or the two guys' spirits on you?
No, it's the only way I can describe it. My personal belief in all this is it's like God's going, okay, so this is what we're going to do. Boom. You're going to have all this information. You're going to see all this stuff and you're going to feel all this stuff. And it's going to come out like a giant ball because there were 2 minute ones. I used to call it the wormhole effect because it's like there's little itty bitty me, little itty bitty worm hole. And then all of this information would just go whoosh all the way through. And when there are different people to talk about, I will cross and I will talk about things that'll combine. And that's where we always talk about the puzzle piece theory. I want to know who that younger male was. And I will guarantee you, she will reach out to you guys in the next 3 days. I will guarantee, Miguel, because I did the same thing to you.
Yeah.
Kelvin, I did the same thing to you with something. And it took you guys about 3 days to go, oh, yeah.
Sure did.
So I'm just saying.
And then real quick, we have Amy who said, these wonderful ladies are special to me, and I'm so thankful they are getting answers and comfort.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yay.
All right, let's bring in our next Platypus Posse member. Is it Kristen?
Yeah, Kristen.
Perfect, Kristen. Welcome. Now, Kristen, you are a long-time Platypus Posse member, correct?
Yeah, I'm an OG from Tampa.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming along on the journey. We appreciate it. And like Holly, producer Kelvin, and myself, we will sit back and let you and Stacy chit-chat.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm so glad to talk to you because you've been you wanted this today. You've been planning on this. So this makes me happy. So thank you for this. You know how I work, you know how I roll. And today, there's a lot of times where we got to talk about people who've healed. I want to talk about your healing as well. I'm trying to explain this the best way I can, but it's literally like you're being wrapped around nothing but love and light and trying to do healing for you and with you because you're going through a lot of different personal struggles right now with, I don't know if it's your health or all of that, but it's like you have to know healing is all over you.
Okay.
For emotional and physical. Does that make sense to you without sounding crazy?
Yeah, I'm definitely going through a lot medically, and then
I want to talk to you about the medically because it's like there's things that it's pissing me off, quite frankly, because you're going to get one diagnosis and then they change another one, and then there's another one, and then you go to a different doctor, like, no, we're going to start from scratch or we're going to go somewhere else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Change out your diet. I am not God, and I promise you I'm not one of those crazy people who are like, no, you need to work on your diet. You have allergies that are going on. And as somebody with an autoimmune stuff, I'm telling you, because the inflammation you have in your hands and in your arms and how hard when you wake up in the morning, your shoulders hurt. I'm telling you.
I actually have an autoimmune disorder. It's MS.
Yeah. Work on that diet. So. I'm telling you. Because that's going to be one of your biggest key things. And it's hard because we eat with our control, if that makes sense, especially with the autoimmune stuff. It's the most difficult thing because mentally we think we can move the mountains. Yeah. And then when we get up to that mountain, we're like, well, damn, not today.
Yeah.
So just seriously, it's going to be a pain, but it'll help. The other thing too, so is your mama passed or is this your grandmama?
My grandma passed.
All right, on your mom's side, correct?
On my father's side.
Okay. See,
I didn't know my grandmother on my mother's side. She was adopted.
All right. Now, I want you to know that there's all this love and blessings over you and your mom. What's going on with your mom? See, something's going on with your mom because that's going whoop. Not that she's dying tomorrow, but we have to talk about it.
She's been having a medical mystery for years now, like blood disorders.
I was going to say, is it also like in her back as well?
She has neck and back issues, but it's mainly like a anemia issue.
Yes.
blood. It's in her blood. Something's wrong with her blood. It's not
Have
cancer.
they tested her for lupus with all of that too?
They've tested her for, I mean, you name it. They've tested her. She's seen because she's actually a retired RN. So she has like connections and she's seen like the best doctors. And here in Florida, we have a lot of great centers and she's been to like
Absolutely.
and all those places and they just can't figure it out. She's just always anemic and weak and her bones are extremely brittle.
Yeah. And it's like, just tell her to keep going, please. Because she weighs heavy on your mind. You're always worried that you're going to lose her. You're not anytime soon.
Oh, thank God.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing, see, you're not going to get a lot of medium stuff today or dead people or anything like that. It's all about healing with you today. It's all about reassurance. It's all about knowing that these choices you're making right now are good. It's about getting through that really bad storm that you're going through right now because you feel helpless.
Well, I've been through quite a big storm the past probably 2 years total. I lost my husband in 2020 at the age
You
of
didn't get
36.
to say goodbye to him at all or anything because this seems like overnight, here today, gone tomorrow, couldn't do it. I want you to also understand that those dreams that you have where you wake up and you're like, was he actually here? Was he not really here? Those were times where, yes, there was a way of visiting. Does that make sense?
Yeah. After I lost him, I took the wrong decisions and wrong path, and I turned to alcohol and ended up losing my kids for about 8 months to DCF. They were placed with family and everything like that. I have them back now.
And you're thriving, baby.
They're doing so good. They're doing amazing. I've had them back for about a year and a half now. So, yeah, it's just been a long journey the past 2 years.
And what's beautiful about all of this is that you're going to continue to keep going. Mm-hmm. You're going to continue to build and you're going to continue to go and you're going to, and I'm telling you, control with your diet because it's like lack of control with everything, control with your diet. And I cannot thank you enough for today.
Oh, thank you.
And just know he's always with you. Always. Always.
I know he's with me because the boys are just like
I was going to say the boys' eyes are his to a T. Like his face and their eyes and everything like that.
Yeah, the face and the characteristics of my 13-year-old. He is his father. And
the way that he runs his mouth is absolutely him.
He's actually so well behaved for a teenager. I'm so blessed.
No, but you pay attention to how he expresses himself. It's not in a rude way. It's when he talks, the way he pronunciates, the way he runs his mouth when he runs, he'll do it. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Kristen. And thank you for being so vulnerable. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Oh my gosh. Too heavy.
Home runs though, especially with Kristen, because you're right. Like just hearing what she has been through in the past 2 years, which would just get anybody, just wrecked.
She's been through it.
It was about healing. It is about healing in the present. Look what she's done. Look what the leaps and bounds that she's done to heal herself and her family.
Yeah.
All about healing.
All about healing. And that's what's interesting is that I always tell people to have no expectations with these because it's going to be what you need to hear versus what you want to hear. She wanted to hear from her husband. Good. But
it must be good. But here's what you need to hear.
You need to hear. Yeah. Because
people get frustrated when they don't get, certain messages. Like if someone comes in and they're like, oh, I really want to hear from my sister or my mother or whatever. Are they upset if they don't?
Yeah. I get a lot. I get those and I'm like, I'm sorry. It's not. Yeah. Well, does that mean they're not at peace? No, it has something to do with that. It's what God wants. People have a hard understanding that there's something bigger than just us out there. And we tend to get into our own thoughts and we tend to get in our own way. And the control factor, there is something bigger moving this boat along, if that makes any sense.
And I feel like sort of we all come in with like the movie expectation of that you just know everything. It's kind of like that thing where it's like, well, why didn't you just predict the lottery numbers or whatever, that's just not how it works.
It's not how it works. And everyone's like, oh, can you do it for yourself? Nope. I cannot. There's two people I cannot read in this world. It's a friend of mine and myself. And that's it. I can't tell you. Everyone's like, oh, did you predict you're going to be sick? Nope. I did though. Like certain little things I'll have dreams about with people if it's pertaining to somebody, and that's it. So
Okay, that makes sense. That kind of
Well-
makes sense because your subconscious is at work there.
yeah, well, okay. I'll have warning dreams. Like recently, the situation that I have been going through with a religious background, and before everything fell apart with that, I had a dream in a church, and it was actually the person that I cannot feel, cannot read, cannot anything was down at the bottom of the church, and they shunned me. They literally looked at me and said, "I don't have time for you. I'm leaving now," and walked out. Now, mind you, this person is my person. Like he knows everything and anything there is to know about me, and we are like peanut butter and jelly. I went to this person the next day going, "Please love me. Don't go away. Please don't go away." And he was like, "I'm not going anywhere. What the freak is your problem?" Turned out the very next day, what I had dreamt was actually of everything else going on with the religious people in my life. They went away.
Yeah.
So
it was not the church, not him, it was the church, but he was in front of the church.
Correct. It was my dream had used him to say that he was going away, but it was actually the church that went away.
Right.
Isn't that bizarre? But that's what happens. I'll get little warning signs. So
yeah.
And speaking of that, do you feel comfortable talking about that for a quick second?
As long as you're okay with talking about it, I'm all about talking about it. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and so granted, I do want to say that, like, if you are religious,
I'm moving as I'm talking to you because I've charged my phone.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It's dying.
But I think that so much of our generation, millennials, Gen Xers, Gen Zers, have moved away from the church because of people, not because of God or the religion. It is people that have made it that way. I mean, I can look at the church I grew up in, and like none of the people that I grew up with actually go. There's actually a girl who lives here in Charlotte that I grew up with in church, and she is a lesbian and she is thriving and living a great life. And she doesn't go to church because they would not accept her and her girlfriend.
Yeah.
And so that's why so many people have left, is because of that. Uh-oh, I think we lost Stacy.
It's maybe she can reconnect. She has interesting things to say on it. She and I had this discussion. We had, I think like 2 weeks ago-ish, we just grabbed coffee real quick and we had a whole like in-depth, conversation about religion and spirituality and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. So hopefully she can pop back on.
Well, go ahead, Kelby.
Oscar and I, when we were going on the ghost tour, coincidentally, we saw a church that said "all welcomed" with a big pride flag on it. And so we felt kind of comfortable. I think it's Methodist. I don't know what that means.
It's just one of the varying branches of Christianity. You have all of the, because I mean, at one point it was basically all just Catholicism. Catholicism was like the main, and then it all branched off. One of the big ones was like, I don't remember history at this moment in time, but like one of the kings of England or something wanted to get divorced, but that was forbidden in the Catholic Church.
King Henry.
So he made, was it King Henry who made his own offshoot of Catholicism that did allow divorce, and then that became a different thing. And then there's like all these different offshoots that were like, Catholicism is a lot, so we're going to kind of do our own thing. And then there's just other branches of Christianity that have popped up. Then there's just general Christianness. So there's all these different offshoots.
It was Martin Luther who went up to the Catholic Church and nailed all of his grievances against the Catholic Church, and then that started Protestants, the Christian part. That was such an interesting part of world history in college, learning about all that, because our professor was super dramatic, and he was like, it was a rainy, dark night when he marched up the stairs. And my dramatic love and TS, I was like, oh, what did he do? That's why I love that professor, Dr. Butler. He made history come alive. Well, we got Stacy back.
Yes, I came back. My computer just decided to literally just shut off. I'm like, no. Okay. So can I talk about it? Do you guys care?
Yeah. Real quick, because we can do it 2 times.
Yes,
what's your contact information? Because Amy is asking, how do we get into contact with you for a reading?
soulworkerstacyrenee.com.
Perfect.
And I was going to say that go there, book a session. That's the easiest, best way. You can also find me on Instagram at Worker Stacy Renee.
Perfect. All right. So what's going on?
I was vanished from my church because so let me get started. I started church about 1.5 years ago, sat down with the pastor. It's a big thing. Before I go to any kind of religious anything, I sit down. I'm like, dude, this is what I do. And this is how I work. And they're like, okay, you're great. You're somewhat of a prophet. Go for it. You're okay. We are okay with you. Same thing with this last pastor. Then we received a new pastor. Now, in the meantime of this, it's been about 6 months since he showed up. And he has the same birthday as my person. So I'm like, it's fine. It's a sign. We're going to be okay. I know I'm stupid, but this is how I thought about it.
I always do that. And sometimes it has led me to really great things. And sometimes it has led me to really terrible things. So it's
Correct.
like really, high risk / reward method to go about life. But yes, go ahead.
Yeah, it's fine. And I would even talk to my friend about this, going, this person, I really have a weird feeling about this. And I repeatedly asked this pastor to meet with me because I didn't want this to be a thing. I served in the church. And I mean, when I say served, I served in the church. I sang on the choir. I did greeting. I did the childcare because you get involved. Yeah. And if y'all know me, I'm a people person. So it's like really get involved. And I became friends with these people and family with these people. I spent Christmas with these people. And 2 weeks ago, my pastor pulled me and my husband into an office with 2 other people who were heads of the church and said, we need to talk about your soul work. And I said, what? Excuse me? And he told me that I was dangerous. He told me that I was an abomination. And he told me that I confused demons with God. And that what I was doing was witchcraft. And, it turned into a witch hut. And quite frankly, it pisses me off because I'm not that. I do everything that I do in the name of Jesus. And it even says, to pull out the Bible and scripture, it says, if you're doing things in the name of God, if you're giving all the credit to God, if you're doing it with God, it's God. And if anyone wants to come and tell me I'm wrong with that, cool. The Bible's been rewritten how many times by how many people? You know what I mean? So I'm going to trust what I was born with. I'm going to trust with what I have. And that's going to be my fate. So he gave me the choice to wrap up my website, walk away from what I do, or stay with the church, quit serving. And I had to be on 2-year probation before I could serve or do anything in part of the church. And that I would be properly trained with my gifts. And because
wait, I'm sorry, I didn't know about this. The church was going to train you?
Yes.
In what way?
Because I do hold gift. I do hold. He told me, he's like, yes, you do have. But the fact that
everyone knows this, I feel like that's not up for debate. So we know that you have some type of gift, but your church was saying, we know what to do with your gift. You have to train with us.
Correct. And this is without talking to me. This is without finding out how it worked. He watched the podcast. Hey. And he went off of all of my 5-star reviews on my website. And I'm like, but you didn't talk to me. You didn't get to hear my story. You don't know how I roll. You don't know who I am. You don't know. If anyone knows me personally, and I'm going to get very translucent here, my life is a shit show on a constant basis. I'm that friend that always has the fire burning on in the background. And I'm also that friend with the dumpster. I mean, Holly, and Miguel, Calvin, you guys know my personal life. And I always have 2 ways of looking at this. Like, more ways to work with other people and help through my experiences to help them with their experiences. Because again, with the Bible, if you want to go that route, the people who wrote the Bible, the people who were God's people, they have the harder lives. They have the struggles. They have all of that because they have to be the example. And I believe that's part of my way. And now I'll also say, and we've never talked about this, my kids always called it the mom's curse. Anybody who hurts me without me, asking for it, their life falls apart. I had an ex-boyfriend. Oh, I hope you're listening, Andy. Oh, I hope you're listening.
She said, I summoned him, Jesus.
I summoned. No. He broke up with me over my weight. He couldn't get past my weight and my loose skin. And he didn't love me the way that he thought he could. His dad died and his dog got ran over that afternoon.
Oh,
Oh,
That's a morsel. I mean, sincerely, you can ask my kids. There's something that happens to people who hurt me. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know how it happens. I don't know what it's about, but it's like I'm protected by God. And I'm one of his people, and I'm blessed to work through him in his name. And if anybody else has an issue with it, deal with him. So I'm off my soapbox. I'm sorry.
okay. No, it's really disappointing and sad when a place that you feel like you're supposed to go to be accepted and to be able to fellowship and to be able to come together over your love of God.
And they all went away except for two
Right.
people.
Ugh.
Actually, technically 3 gone out of my life. I had people that were like parents to me that came over on a regular basis that my kids called grandparents. Gone.
Right. It's just so unfortunate, but there's so many articles and studies about why. I mean, because I remember I went through my own thing when I was in college because I was still in that moment, like before I had my first group of gay friends, before I started drinking and going out, when I was still like, I love the church and like what it did for me and how it helped me and how I was very involved. I was the choir manager. I was going to be a youth deacon and all this stuff.
Yes.
But like, I knew that if I lived my truth about who I am, I would not be accepted.
My pastor told me I wasn't allowed to pray over people. Yeah. It's not right.
It's so sad. And I remember reading all these websites about people that had like tried an offshoot of Seventh-day Adventists, that was accepting of gays and stuff like that. And I was just like, I don't, we'll table it. And I just tabled it and never went back. So my heart goes out to you.
Yeah, it's just, it bothers me to a whole different level. And it's something that I don't, and now I was like, well, come to my church. I'm like, I don't know if I want to. I asked my relationship, but it was good for my boys. It was good for my husband who didn't know God, who didn't know Christ, he was Buddhist. And he was like, well, this is kind of cool. And liked it. And now I'm like, well, crap, I look stupid. And I always tell everybody.
It sucks because you.
No, go ahead.
But you don't. I mean, that you don't look stupid. I just feel like if anybody should look bad, it's the church that looks a little.
It's hard
right now.
Yeah.
For not welcoming. And I mean, what you can tell obviously that you have a deep love for Jesus and for God and for Christianity and for that to be so deep rooted that you're not turning away from that. You're just turning away from that building.
From those
I felt
you have to look at it.
Yeah. And if I felt like if I was going to walk away from this, it would be putting church before God. And I can't do that. And again, for all those people who are going to come out and do the whole Bible shame on me and that I'm a witch and I'm demonic, if I'm living my life in Jesus and dealing and through scripture, it says, Jesus, 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 then how can the demons get to me? Does that make sense? So it frustrates me to a whole different way of people being so narrow-minded by a book that has been rewritten so many times and it's not finished. We don't know all of it. We don't know and has been rewritten. People understand it one way, you get to read it another way, and it's a whole nother meaning somewhere else. Trust God. Have that relationship with God. That's it.
So, Stacy, what are you going to do now?
Live my life, make my difference.
Period. Church of Stacy Renee.
That's it. My husband has been on that kick for 4 or 5 years. He was, because I wanted to be a minister. I wanted to do all of that. And my pastor even told me that if I had stayed, I wasn't allowed to pray over people. And I'm like, well, gosh darn it. I've been wanting to do ministry. And my husband's in way on it. He's like, just do soul works or something. I'm like, no, I can't. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. So it's good. Everything's good. Life is good.
Well, thank you for sharing that journey. And I'm so sorry that happened to you.
It's experience. And again, I'm able to help other people through my experience to get closer to God. And yet and have mercy with these people that are the church. This is all they know. They don't know and understand this. I'm not mad at them.
Right.
It's because they just have been taught a specific way. It is what it is.
And also, bye, Andy.
Bye,
Yeah,
Andy. Don't even get me started. I did get my pickup truck because of that, man. He was the only good thing in my life. It's fine. It's fine. Is that
Stacy, how can people contact you for social media and to get a reading?
My Instagram is at Worker Stacy Renee. And please, if you want a session and you want to talk to me, book at soulworkerstacyrenee.com.
Love it, Stacy. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you so much, you guys. God bless you guys. Mwah.
Bye.
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 Oh. Oop, wait.
Oh,
Sorry.
hello.
Sorry, she removed herself from it. I was like, oh, sorry, Holly.
That's
Bye.
fine. I'm still here.
Oh my gosh. Let me see here. Whew, that was all heavy, girl. Today was a heavy podcast. Honey.
All of it.
All
of
the
it,
things,
from all
yeah.
aspects.
I still can't get over the fact that she was like, Alexandria, it's so nice to talk to you. Yeah, it's nice. Where's your mama now? Bring your mama out. And then proceeded to only talk to the mom. But like, also, that's what Alexandria needed. It's
Right.
so bizarre to me.
Right.
I'm going to think about that one for a minute. She's like, that's nice. That's nice. Bring your mom in.
I would have been so disappointed, but I also would have been really happy for my mom, which I'm sure Alexandra was.
Right.
But
But I
was
also
like,
feel like her mom's info was also what she was looking for.
Yeah. Like they seem really close. Like they're reading together
Correct.
of
Yeah.
what they needed. But
Yeah,
I
almost
just
like that.
I want to go back and just watch the video just to see the physical, like her mom just comes into the shot.
You're like, where's your mom? And she just,
That-
hey,
Hey,
me?
how
I'm
y'all
here. I
doing?
was just watching in the back.
How y'all doing?
Oh my goodness,
my
that
gosh.
really tripped me up. I really enjoyed that entire
Yes.
little scenario.
So if you listen to the podcast, definitely, if you haven't watched one before, definitely go to the Miguel and Holly Facebook or the Miguel and Holly YouTube channel to watch it.
It's like that gif of Kim Kardashian peeking through the bushes.
I love
man.
it.
Yeah.
Holly, did that talk of religion make you uncomfortable?
Um,
I saw your body language.
yeah, not uncomfortable. I just didn't want to be asked for my opinion.
Right.
I love
that.
it because I was trying to because I know your body language and you looked uncomfortable. And so I was
God, that is the weirdest thing ever. Save that. I know your body language.
actually, we need
I
to
know the way
I got to
your
work on
body
save that
works.
today. So I will get that body language. Yeah, but
Anyway.
I know your body, Holly. And
Yeah.
so I was like, Holly's uncomfortable right now. Why?
Yes. I didn't want to be asked about it. Because I still have a lot of let me think of how I want to put this. So I have some strong opinions on religion that y'all know. And my close friends know. My family does not know my thoughts. And the general public doesn't know my thoughts. And it's I don't really want to talk about it because I'm afraid of what will happen if my extended family would hear me talk like that. And also like the general public, and I don't know, I guess the general public like is less than, but I also get nervous talking about it on air. For exactly the reason why we got an upset email yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are so what is happening? My
What?
audio just sounded different. Does it sound different to you?
Sounds
Hello?
the same to
Nope.
us.
Nope.
All right. Anyway, people are it's so fraught with high emotions, and it can be so controversial that if someone were to come at me, I'm not prepared to stand and deliver. It would I'd have to meander down a couple of paths and there's no way for me to succinctly sum up how I feel in like a bam, bam, this is why. And it's just scary for me because I'm still afraid of people's judgment.
Absolutely.
It's also just like not worth it.
No.
It's just
Correct.
not worth it.
It really
You know?
isn't, because I'm not changing anyone's mind
Yeah. You don't
that
care
would want
to.
to come for me, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I always appreciated how Miguel took sort of a stance on, like, okay, well, I'm not, Miguel, I feel like I'm paraphrasing whatever you said years ago, but I feel like, Miguel, your sort of vision of it is like, well, I may not agree with you, but whatever it is that you feel most comfortable with doing and it brings you peace and joy, do that.
Mm.
Like, that's how I feel. I'm
Right.
like, I'm not over here trying to like convince one way or the other. I just have my feelings
Right.
and you have your feelings, but I know how those feelings work, and they work like I'm wrong.
Mm.
And since I grew up with a lot of religious guilt, which I think a lot of Catholicism, a lot of Catholics have, it's a joke, like it's like, oh, the Catholic guilt, but it's real. And so I feel like shame and guilt about how I feel because of, what I grew up with. So I just don't want to, like, I even had, and I love, and I don't, like, I don't want to, if this person should ever stumble upon this podcast, like, I would never want to, like, I'm not throwing this person under the bus. Certainly, I love this cousin of mine, love him. But when we were at my brother's wedding a year ago, almost a year ago, last March, so my mom was still alive, and was still decently, like, she was not okay, but she was like still okay enough to talk to people or whatever. So I'm at my cousin's wedding, and out of literally the blue, like, we had eaten dinner, the dancing portion of the evening of the wedding had commenced, and I'm like talking to some family, and my one cousin comes up to me and he was like, "So what is this I hear about you not being in the church anymore?" And I was like, "Huh?
No.
I am. What?" And he's like, "Well, your mom told so and so that, like, you aren't going to church, and like, what's going on?" And I was like, first I was like, "Mom, God,
Stop it.
My mom was so upset that I was not going to church every day." And I mean, so I don't want to even get into that. However, I think I put snot on my computer screen. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's see.
Anyway, then to be like I was not prepared, and I was like scared, and I was like, "No, I am. I'm so churchy. I love church." And he's like, "Well, what's going on?" I'm like, "Well," and so then I felt like I had to be defensive, and I was like, "Well, no, I mean, no, like, what, my kid's in a Catholic school. Like, we're good. It's fine. And here's why, and it's fine." And I don't blame him, because when you're in that thing and like, you got your squad, like your whole family, we all do the things together. We all go to church together. This is like what we do. We grew up together. We do this. So I don't blame him at all. And I would never want to throw him under the bus. And I'm not saying that anything mean about him, like, but I was like, see, this is what I'm trying to avoid, though.
Mm.
Me feeling uncomfortable,
Right.
and me making other people uncomfortable. So I just don't, it's just tough.
Yeah. I just wish that sometimes people would keep it
Cute.
private when it comes to
That's
that.
true.
Because I remember when my grandmother passed, and we were it was the day before the funeral, and so people were coming by the funeral home as we were getting everything together, and
Right.
there was this one lady who is married to the pastor that he was the pastor over my church when I was young. And so she hadn't seen me since I was in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, "Baby, you still in the church?" Now, granted, my fiance Abe was coming up from Florida for it. And I was just like, well, and I wasn't going to lie, because I was like, "No, I'm not." And then she was like, and then she went on this whole thing as family members were coming in. Like, we're sitting in the room where my grandmother's body is laying, and people are coming in, people from church that I grew up with that I hadn't seen in like 10 years that I wanted to say hi to. And she's talking to me, and I was getting more upset. And I'm like, this is not the time.
Yeah.
This is not the time. And this is what makes me so upset over, once again, not religion, but people.
Mhm.
People.
Yeah.
I would never go to your mom's funeral and be like, "Anybody coming to Pride this year? Anybody voting for gay stuff? Anybody want to see a drag show?"
Because I would be like, fuck you doing?
Like, it's not the time.
Right.
And I'm like, it's not the time. Like,
Sit down.
get my number and let's talk about it afterwards.
Yeah,
But
sure.
right, let's discuss it. But like, I just feel like sometimes if we could come to a place where like, I'm not trying to convert anybody. I'll invite you to my drag show and you can say no, that's cool. You can invite me to your church. I may or may not come, and that's okay. And then let's just leave it at that.
Right.
And let that be it.
Yeah.
I just wish that's what we could get to.
It's just that, like, and this email, like, it's not bothering me a whole lot, but it's bothering me enough that, like, it's obviously I've been thinking about it all the past couple days.
Right.
One day, because we got this email yesterday, and this is exactly why I got uncomfortable talking about this on the podcast with Stacy, because so we're doing a thing where we had to give up something for Lent, which if as you may know, Lent is a season for Catholics where, you know, you don't eat meat on Friday. And I talked about this on the air. It's reflective of Jesus's 40 days in the desert, where it was a journey of sacrifice. And I said, you give something up as a sacrifice to do kind of like what Jesus did. I said, and I must have said at some point, fasting and other restrictions. And as I was explaining this on the air, which by the way, we're only given like 4 minutes total to talk about things. And so I'm trying to explain all this so we can get to the bit about what we're giving up for Lent. And some lady heard this and she emailed our boss and was very upset because she felt that I was demeaning Catholics by saying fasting and, quote, other restrictions. And that if I didn't have the time to do a simple Google search and find out that Lent is a prayerful, respectful part of being Catholic, then I should just say I don't know what I'm talking about. And I was like, but I wasn't being disrespectful. And I mean, she thought that I was, and I know that I wasn't. As someone who is raised Catholic, of course I know what Lent is, but trying to explain it as a radio host, you're trying to explain it to someone who has never heard of it, right? You have to assume that no one knows what you're talking about.
Right.
So trying to break it down to its simplest aspects for someone who has no idea and has never heard of Lent in 30 seconds, I thought I did a pretty decent job. But this Catholic woman who, as a practicing Catholic, was very upset that I would demean it. I was like, and that's me not being controversial about it. I was trying to extra be respectful. And I even talked about Jesus, which I was like, that could be offensive on the air to some.
Right.
So I'm like,
you can't make everyone happy.
No.
I'm going to have to email this person back and then be like, really wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but like, I also can't be defensive because then, that puts her hackles up. So
I would just attach a clip of the segment and be like, here's what I said.
That's what I said.
Because literally, in like 100% honesty, like, so I edit stuff that we play back, and we played that segment back later in the show, and I actually cut down what you said to explain it to make the bit fit in the time constraints that we had. So that's So that's how I know you literally explained it. I said, Holly, quickly explain, and then you talked for a minute. And so I took the background out, but because I know you were trying to be respectful and make sure that this didn't happen. But that's why when I saw that email, I was like, girl, I edited that segment. I know how long she talked for.
Right.
I know. Shit. I was just like, maybe we'll have to just attach the segment and be like, wait, did you listen to the whole thing though? I'm not trying to say like it's your problem, but also I purposely wasn't trying to be anyway.
It's fine. All right.
How I got on that. So that's why I was just like, I'm not going to add my 2 cents right now.
Because I know your body, Holly.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I just figured it was that. I was just wondering. Of course, I had to ask on the air.
What about my body, Miguel?
Your body says, I'm feeling hungry. I'm wanting my video game.
Oh, that first one was shady.
How is it shady?
I am hungry personally. I get some food.
But your uncomfortableness overpowered your hunger. Meanwhile, Kelvin was like,
Kelvin's hungry.
My body says I'm hungry.
Your body language says you hungry, girl.
Oh no. Okay.
What does my body language say?
You're a bitch.
all right. Holly, what's your social media so we can get out of here?
Radio Holly, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.
Mr. Hungry Kelvin, what is your social media?
At Kelvin Live, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and if you're on PlayStation, BSSY Killer.
Okay. That's appropriate.
Meets for whatever. Blue sofa.
Say it out loud. Say it out loud. Say it.
No, because it's disrespectful and inappropriate to Holly, and I want to respect her. But it
Thank
is
you.
just BSSY. It could be busy. Busy killer.
Mine is Miguel Fuller. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, on Be Real, or if you're on the Peloton and you want to do a ride together, Miguel Fuller on there. Please give us a 5-star rating. And if you don't want to give us a 5-star rating, then don't rate us at all. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
If you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say anything.
Nothing at all. See you on Monday. Bye.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to